This is Ageless Living TV. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button and thumbs up if you like this video. Leave a comment. I'm following a challenge called SSSVEDA, everyday vlogging in April. Follow other people. There's some really fun channels that are also following the Veda for April, and it's been quite a challenge. I've really enjoyed it. I'm learning a lot, and I really had so many ideas, and I still do, but for some reason I couldn't think of one today. One of the cool things that's part of SSSVEDA is a calendar with prompts. I haven't been following all of them, but I had to follow this one today. It's super fun. The question is, what's the most adventurous thing I've ever done? I don't know. I just don't think I'm adventurous. I just don't think I'm an adventurous person. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I've got one. Last summer, I drove by myself to Las Vegas. And from where I live, it's far. It said on the map it was supposed to take 8 or 9 hours, and it took way longer than that. So first, I started out by thinking, can I go? I got my car all ready, oil change, checked my tires. I think I even got new tires. I was just like very careful because this drive was going to be all the way down the eastern side of California into Nevada, and there's really just nothing there. I mean, it's just wasteland. Well, I don't want to call it wasteland. We'll call it deserty. It's very bare. There's not a lot there. There's not a lot of towns. And there was a lot of time that I was just out of signal. I didn't even have cell phone signal, which was very spooky. By myself, out in the middle of nowhere, no cell signal. But it was beautiful. Can I just say, gorgeous scenery all along the way. I was meeting my girlfriend for a convention for our business. She's my business partner, and we were meeting up for a convention. Gonna have a lot of fun. We were in touch as much as possible. I quickly realized she was gonna get there before me, and I'm the one who made the reservation for our house that we were staying at. So I had to hurry. So I started hurrying. So I didn't stop and smell the roses along the way, or in my case, stop and take pictures along the way. I just hightailed it straight there. So I should have got there faster, but anyways. There were several different routes I could take, and Yahoo and Google Maps and all of them had different ideas of which way I should go, and so I ended up picking my own way. It just looked good to me. It looked like a perfect little road. I don't know. I picked my own way. And there were so many times I'm like, did I pick the wrong way? What's taking so long? Am I lost? I don't know what I'm doing. When I turned off the main highway and cut across from California to Nevada, that was amazing and crazy. It went forever and ever, and I could see forever. Like, I could see forever. There was nothing. I went through land that looked like I was on a totally different planet. Like, is this Earth, or am I on Mars or the moon? I kept saying I went to the moon because it looked like the moon. It looked like the moon. I wanted to stop and take pictures. It was a beautiful, beautiful cloudy day, but I also wanted to get to Las Vegas. So I went and I went and I went and I drove and I drove, and then I'm on this I've got over the pass, and I'm down this long road that I could just see many, many, many miles straight. And I could see a bunch of cars kind of stopping, and I didn't know what that was, and it took me 30 45 minutes to get there, and I noticed they're all stopping because they're working on the road. So that took me another 30 minutes to just sit on the side of the road. And then I got on the highway and I went to Las Vegas and had a great time. I just had a great time. And then I had to face the drive home. But this time, no time clock. I left early in the day, and I thought, I'm going to take my time and stop and take pictures along the way and enjoy all the sights that I had to rush through. I'm just going to take my time and enjoy them. So I was driving up Nevada, and I stopped in one little town, and I saw a tour bus stopped. A bunch of people from Italy. They talked amazing. I loved their accent and their language. It was just so cool. So I stopped the tour bus driver. She was just waiting for their tour to come out, and I asked her, what is the best way to get over to California, scenery-wise? What would you recommend? And she said, have you been to Death Valley before? And I said, no. So she said, you should go through Death Valley. It's pretty. And then she told me about a little turnoff to go see a ghost town. And so I did. I turned off to see a ghost town, and before I even got to the ghost town, there was this cool little stop with these weird statues and stuff. And that was just out in the middle of nowhere. There was these like white ghosty statues. So of course I had to stop and take a look at that. And I went and took pictures, and then I drove up to the ghost town. That was pretty cool. I love history. So there's this town in the middle of the desert. How did they do that back then? I don't even know. So I saw that, and then I drove through Death Valley, and it is long. I just kept thinking, I've never seen anything like these long stretches of road that you could see forever. It was pretty, beautiful, amazing, awesome. It was great. I just loved it. I stopped and stopped and stopped. It took me forever to get home. I couldn't help myself. I also knew of a place that had these super cool like rock formations that I'd been to before with my husband, and he said, be sure and stop in there and take pictures. I think it's called the Alabama Hills. So I definitely pulled in there, and I got a few pictures in there. That was pretty cool. It was just a small little area, but it was just like going through, again, another planet. In fact, I'm pretty sure that when they film movies and they act like they're on another planet, that these are some of the places that they would go and film. Just, that's what it looks like. That's probably why I thought that. One of the things that was like on my list of things I really wanted to do on this drive was to stop at Mono Lake and take pictures, because it's a really cool place that has these like salt deposits that make for some really interesting formations, and I was determined to go and take some pictures there. So I pretty much scheduled my whole trip to land in Mono Lake at just the right time, hour or so before sunset, which would be so pretty. And so I got to Mono Lake. I'm by myself. I park in the little parking lot, and I get my camera, and I'm just walking down to the water, and I see there's all kinds of people, you know, lots of people taking pictures, lots of people just looking. And I noticed that the ground looked like rocks and gravel, but it was this foamy, weird texture that sunk a little. And so I realized quickly that I was not necessarily always walking on ground, and if I stepped wrong as I got closer to the shore, if I stepped wrong, I would land on this mushy stuff, and who knows, it might just break through and I'd be, you know, where would I be? So I was rock hopping at this point, which, you know, I'm not necessarily the best rock hopper, but I was being careful. So, you know, I'd be on one rock with both my feet, and then I'd step gently to the next, and I'd test it, and then I'd step on that rock, and then I'd get my other foot. So I was being really careful. I had my camera, but I was trying to get close to take a really cool picture down on the water that I kind of saw a picture in my mind that I wanted to get to. So I'm just concentrating on rock to rock to rock to rock. Well, one of the rocks wasn't a rock. It really wasn't anything. It looked like a rock, and I stepped on it. It seemed okay. And then boom, my foot went down about that far into what felt like quicksand. I mean, it was just gooey and muddy, and I felt like I was stuck. I mean, I was really stuck. And there was a couple of girls and their mom or their grandma, and they were like, are you okay? And I'm like, like, I'm just like trying to keep from getting my camera. I have my camera kind of strapped around the back of me, and I'm like trying not to touch anything. I don't want to get anything on my camera, but I'm literally 1 foot into this quicksand, mud, whatever it was. Ugh. And so I kind of put my hand down, and that hand got dirty, like up to here. And then I pulled my foot out, but I had no shoe. The shoe was in there. So I took the dirty hand, and I reached in, and I found my sandal. So I gave a big yank on my sandal, and I pulled it, and I broke it. So now I am muddy on my hand, and this hand's getting muddy too, and my foot is like muddy up to my knee, and it is this gooey, clay, sandy mud. And now I've got a broken sandal. You need to know about me. I do not go barefoot. Ever. In my own house, I don't go barefoot. I don't like going barefoot. I wear shoes, sandals, something all the time. So now I have a broken sandal that's all muddy, and I'm dirty. I don't like being dirty. I mean, all the things I don't like, I am, and I'm also mad. And I don't like being mad. And I didn't get a picture, by the way. So I started walking with one sandal on and one sandal off, but then that was like hard because it was like the ground was like rocks, and it felt more like glass. And so I was walking and I felt like I was walking crooked because one foot was a shoe and one foot wasn't, and so now like one of my knees started hurting. It's like I was walking funny, so my legs started hurting, knee, and so I put the broken sandal on and it was squishing and I was walking funny and it was like starting to hurt my knees, and I could see how far I had to walk, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I had to take off both my sandals and walk barefoot on glass. It wasn't really glass, but it felt like glass, and I was just like, ow, 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 ow. And I could see these girls were kind of concerned. They were behind me and they're like probably talking about me. That poor lady she fell in Mono Lake. It felt like it took a year to get to my car, and I was just like, what am I gonna do? I just have to do it. I just have to walk on glass to get to my car. And then when I got to the trail and I was like kind of trying to find little soft spots to put my feet, it was just so hard. So I get to my car and I'm thinking, please be something. I know there's not a bathroom, but water. Could there just be a spigot somewhere? And no. There was no water. Nothing. I mean, what was I going to do? Get in my car with this Mono Lake all over me? So I realized I had a beach towel in my back, and I took every bottle of water I had in my car, and I threw the sandals away. Buy sandals, no more sandals. And I got the beach towel and I stood on it and I just poured water, but it was like clay. So I had to scrub it and rinse and scrub it and rinse, and it's like, oh, it wouldn't come off, and I'd get it off my legs. And finally I got most of it off and I threw the beach towel away. I just like wanted nothing to do with any of this back again. It's like, I'm not bringing any of this home. So I got in my car and I was pretty much cleaned up, and I had some other shoes, so I switched shoes and I drove and I drove and I drove, and it just seemed like this was taking forever, and I was starting to get tired. And somehow in Las Vegas, my bank decided I must be a robber, and they cut me off. They cut off my ATM card, and I was in and out of signal, and so I couldn't even get gas. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? I hope I have enough gas to get home and don't run out in the middle of nowhere and just die. It was just one more thing after another. So I tried to figure out which way to get over to my pass, so I knew how to get home over that mountain pass. And that pass that I was going to take home is a place where we go for photography all the time. So I would feel at home if I could just see a place I knew. So I turned in at Nevada and I went up, and I started seeing places I knew, and I felt like I was kind of home. Even though I was still far from home, I was still in a place I knew. I wasn't lost anymore. I wasn't out of my comfort zone. I was in my comfort zone, and all I could think is, I'm so tired. I just hope I don't fall asleep. And so I kept driving and driving, and I was passing a place that my husband normally would photograph quite often people, and I knew he had a shoot that day, and I knew he was shooting them up there, and I was just sad that I didn't plan something like I could meet up with him, but I didn't. And there's no cell signal, maybe just for a second at this one little place, but that's not enough to even do anything. I don't even think I can make a phone call. So I'm just going along, and I drive past this place that I was thinking, that's the place. If there's ever going to be cell signal, there's this one little restaurant and parking lot in the middle of the mountains. Is one little place that might have cell signal, just a little. And I look over and I see a van, and the lights inside the van are on, and it's just like our van. And I started to think, is that my husband? But I was just so tired, I didn't even care. I just kept going, and I thought, nah, what are the chances, right? And just after I passed him, and I'm just about to go to where there's no chance of getting any signal, I hear my little cell phone ding like I got a text. And I'm like, what just happened? So I turn around and I go back, and he had texted me. He didn't see me. I saw him, but I didn't even know it was him. But he texted me, and he phone called me. He left a message and he texted me. He said, I happen to be here at Kirkwood, and I'm just gonna wait a little while, like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just in case. If you get this message, I'm waiting for you. Just stop and, I'll follow you home. So I turn around, I go back, and I'm like, there he is. Finally something good happens to me on this terrible drive. And I was so happy to see him. He was my knight in shining armor in that moment, I guarantee you. So I followed him all the way home. And it was so much easier just to follow him. Then that's like I wasn't alone anymore. So that was nice. So that was the ending of my trip. And it was quite an adventure for sure. And I'm going back to convention this summer and I'm going to drive again because parts of me just absolutely loved it. But I'm not going to Mono Lake. I mean, I'll go by Mono Lake, but I'm not going to walk down to Mono Lake. I will not repeat that. I can repeat lots of things, but not the quicksand. And I know it's not quicksand, but it felt like quicksand. But I'll go back again this summer. It was a beautiful drive, and I like to drive. And I'll have a partner with me, so it'll be fun. We'll talk the whole way and take turns driving. So there's my story, my big adventure. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back again tomorrow. I'll be vlogging every day in April for Veda, and I so enjoyed sharing this with you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye now. I want to hear your adventure story. Do you have an adventure story? If you do, leave it in the comments. It'd be fun to hear everybody's adventure story. I'm going to have to go to the website, look at the link, and you'll see the SSSVEDA website. I'm going to have to go and see what other people's great adventure is, because I think this was fun just sharing. I want to see what theirs are. If you want to see them too, go take a look.